Hi y'all.
Hello.
So, I'm Danny.
I'm DJ.
And we're going to talk about our financial journey from the beginning all the way to where we are currently.
So, before we got married in 2012, we both went to college. That's where we met.
Yeah.
So that means we came into our marriage with student loans. Well, I definitely came in with student loans. She had some, I had more. And then I decided to go enlisted into the military, so I'm not using my degree.
No, and I got a pointless degree, so it's like, that was dumb. So yeah, we had that starting off. And then we were friends, and then we dated, got engaged, and then got married.
Yep. Just on our own. We
Yep.
went to the
We
courthouse
eloped.
and we eloped. It was super cheap. That was
Very
like
cheap.
one good financial thing we did.
Yeah, at the beginning.
At
And
the
so we
beginning.
were pretty young. I think I was like 21 going on 22. He was 23 going on 24. And yeah, we lived on the opposite sides of the country, and we said, well, we're not going to shack up. I'm not going out there to be nobody's girlfriend, okay? So we sped things up, got married. And we started on our merry way. So he's in the military, and it's very hard for some spouses to get a real job. And when I say real, I mean not working for pennies. And since I had went to college, I knew that working for pennies was not going to pay for my student loans, and they wouldn't hire me anyway, which is so dumb. It's like, if I apply, you better hire me. Like, I want to work there if I apply, right? But anyways, so I kept applying, and it was just not working, and that led to, of course, not being able to contribute to the household the way I wanted to. And so I think like that fall, what happened? I did get a job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did find a job, and that was cool. And then, do you want to talk about the commercial or no?
Sure.
Okay. And so then I also booked the commercial, which was awesome. And he got to be in it. Well, he was the star in it, which is
Randomly.
yeah. And so he was like the star in the commercial, and we both got paid, and we got like lots of money. So guess what? I'm young, stupid. I quit, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this forever. And yeah, we spent most of the freaking money on a wedding. Yes, you heard that right. We were already married, and we were talked into by crazy people to have a full wedding on the opposite end of the country. Yeah. So we spent most of that money on that, which could have been used for,
Paying
our
off all
student
our
loans
debt.
to put in our emergency fund. We eloped. There weren't any rich family members who gave us money to start our lives.
Nope.
So we could have used that money, but we didn't, because we fed hundreds of people to come watch us get married again. So financial mistake number one.
Yeah. Things you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
But yeah, that was a bad idea.
And so we had the wedding, and then back to the job hunt, right? And so I was like, I need a car. I didn't want to share a car with him anymore. I didn't want to wake up anymore. So I was like, I need a car. So I sold my North Carolina car, and I went and financed
A smart
a
car.
smart car.
Which was not a very smart decision.
No, it was not. And I drove it for less than 12 hours, and I drove it right back into the parking lot and gave it back to them. So it was good that I was able to get out of that. But then I think like a week later, I went and financed a $13,000 Kia Rio. And yeah, I just kept doing stupid stuff with cars. But it's okay. So that was like another crazy decision. So I think my car payment was like $300 or something like that. And by that time, I was substitute teaching, because that was like the only way to make decent money in our area. And so we just continued to live. He was handling the finances. He got the income. So, I mean, you know, we made sure everything's paid for, and that was it. But what we didn't know was that we were okay, but there's like a fine line between being okay and being like stable.
Right.
And more to that very soon.
And with me handling the finances and stuff, we weren't really talking about it. We weren't following a budget. It was just we were paying the bills, but then we were living our life. But in order to live our life the way we were kind of putting a lot of things on credit cards. And we had no idea, I mean, really what all we were paying for. So
yeah.
Things were getting out of control.
Silently.
Yeah.
Until I was in there doing my hair. So another smart thing, I was still doing my own hair, saving my little $50 to $100 every 2 weeks. And I saw a thyroid nodule. Wait. Okay, y'all. I didn't know. I didn't know it was that big. I saw a lump, and I come to find out it was a nodule on my thyroid. And long story short, I went through multiple biopsies. It was a very scary time because it continued to grow. I could breathe less. I was starting to have trouble eating, so swallowing was like a very big issue. And just living. Like, you think you have like this cancer that's gonna spread all through your body, and like then you're just gonna die on the side of the street. That's like the fear of cancer, if you didn't know. And so they kept doing biopsies, long needles, and they just could not figure out. And so I think this was about a year ordeal. Because, you know, they poke you and then you have to wait. And then you poke you, they test, and they fly it out, all this kind of stuff. And so about a year, I was like, hey, I can't eat. I can't breathe. Like, it's taken, like, you see I'm small. So it was like, it was big.
A big growth.
And so they said, well, we're going to have to do surgery, which, of course, is also dangerous in its own right. You may not be able to speak anymore, all these other complications, be on lifelong medications. And so, I mean, I didn't have an option like, am I going to breathe or am I going to have a hoarse voice? I took the voice part, like I need to breathe. So we had the surgery, and then they still didn't know what was wrong. So that's still whatever. Yeah. And then I had a crash of hormones, because that's what's happened, and I ended up in like a severe depression. So all that time, like, I wasn't able to work, of course. Like, I was in and out of the doctor. Like, I was always at the doctor, rheumatologist, and then I had I had heart problems. We skipped that. Heart monitor, all these kind of crap. And so it was just like a trying time. So we went from being like, I'm still young, okay, 22, 23 years old, from getting married, doing all this craziness, having the best time of our lives, to, oh, she may die.
In and out of the hospital.
Yeah. And so that was like a trying time, but we got through it.
And one of the smart things we did during that time is, like, knowing she couldn't work at all during that time, is we sold her car.
So we ended up selling the car, because of course, like, me being me, like, I don't like being burdened to anyone. And so we went to CarMax, sold the car, and handled that.
Yep. We just got a loan for the difference so that we could be able to give them the car for what they quoted, because they quoted basically exactly what it would sell for. And
private.
And
I don't really like people that much, so I was like, I'm gonna go in here and see if they'll give me what the blue book says I should get privately. And they did, and I let them have it. I cried though. I cried all the way there and all the way back home, because that was my, like, it was my car. Yeah. And so, but we did do that, and we got through the surgery and the depression and the scariness, and then I ended up being okay.
Yeah.
And so then I decided to go back to school. So we were preparing for that.
Yep.
How were we preparing for that with no money? I don't remember. I don't remember.
Somehow you had secured an apartment.
Yeah.
You had your classes enrolled.
I think I was going to do it on loans. Yeah, I think, I was going to do it on loans.
Yeah.
But that did not come to fruition, because right after I was about to, like, just take myself out of here because of all the hormones, the next month, we get a call that his mom had passed.
Yeah. My mother, she committed suicide like that following month after all of this other stuff was happening. Like the day that Danny was supposed to leave, the very next day is when, or yeah, the day before you were, the day before you were gonna leave is when that happened. So obviously she didn't leave and go, to do the school stuff or whatever, because we ended up having to figure out how we were gonna get plane tickets to get home. Because we looked in our bank account and we had no money to pay for anything like that.
Because we had already somehow paid for a plane ticket for me to go home the next day for school and all the stuff that I needed for that dorm apartment place or whatever.
Yeah, so we had to end up getting a loan. It was a military type loan or whatever that you don't get any interest on. But we had to do that to be able to go home and pay for all that stuff. And that was just another whole ordeal, and it was...
Yeah, and he wrote a blog about it. We're not going to go down that because it would take you too far.
Yep.
But that was when we saw that we don't have any money.
Yeah, we realized we didn't have any money. And it was really eye-opening because we also got home and realized that all of these adults that were in our lives also didn't have any money. And it was, I don't know, it was just one of those things that
60s.
It made you realize, finances, it seems like a lot of people just do not have it together like you would think they would.
But it's not by choice. They're just coasting through life, and then something traumatic like that happens, and then now you're trying to figure out what happened. And we knew from that moment that we did not want to be like that.
Right.
And so we decided to make some changes once we got home. Starting with trying to figure out
where was all of our money?
Where's all of our money? And did it take the debt to get us to that point? No, because I think a year before that, before I got all my sickness, we were sitting there watching Suze Orman, and we saw her can I afford it thing? And
how am I doing?
Oh, how am I doing? And she lays out all their money. And we're like, what? These people got this money. And so we had actually looked at budgeting and stuff before, but then we had all that other crap happen, and so it just got away.
Yeah, we didn't do anything.
I can show you how it just stopped. So then we went back and we're like, okay, we need to be serious this time because this is real life. We're adults, and we put down all of our debts. We went and looked at all of them. I had stuff in collections. That is another story.
Yeah.
I had, but I didn't have things in collections. And then we put all of that down.
Look at all of our expenses, all the things we were paying
all the stuff
out.
we were paying.
Had some very candid conversations about what we were paying for cable.
Yes. So we then decided what to cut. Cable was the first freaking thing because I did not know we were spending over $150 for cable. No, not cable and internet, or cable, internet, and phone. No, just cable. So I told him we have to let that go.
Yeah, and it was gone.
It was gone. So we started cutting stuff immediately.
Yes.
And so we cut the cable. He was getting haircuts on base. Said, nope, you need to go get you some
clippers.
And you need to cut your own doggone hair. We cut a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, what else can we do? Because once we put all of our minimum payments in there and all of our expenses before we started cutting stuff, we had only $100 left every freaking month. And we're like, we can't tackle all this debt with $100 a month. What are we doing? So that's why we started cutting things. And then I think we gained about $600.
Yeah, it was like $600-ish. Yep.
Yeah. And then
we had to find more room.
And it was it's not my fault. It was my idea because it was a great idea. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been very tight with my money. What happened in my little adulthood, I don't know. But then that clicked back on, and I just started going extreme. And so I got the bright idea that we should move into a tiny house, but then that was stupid and expensive, and they're small. And so then I found an RV.
Because we figured out that in order to make some type of progress. Like where we live in California, so housing was our biggest expense.
Yeah.
But the only way to really cut our housing costs without living in a cardboard box was to move to an RV where we could slash our housing budget basically in half.
And that's what we did.
That's exactly what we did.
So we sold everything. We sold things before we even moved out. So by the time it was time for us to move out, we were sitting in lawn chairs eating off of computer desks. We didn't have no tables or anything.
We were sleeping on the floor on our mattress because we sold our bed frame the very first week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we started selling stuff, it was like that first week. So
we did all of that. Yeah. That was fun. And we moved into the RV. And we did the darn thing. We gained about $1,200, $1,300 extra, so we had that in combination with the $600. And we started like obliterating debt. Like we attacked our credit cards first because math. A lot of people recommend doing something else. No, we calculated math, and paying off credit cards was the smartest thing to do.
Because they were all like 20-something% interest. Because our credit scores weren't good at all. So like all the credit cards we had open had the highest interest rates that you could get, basically.
Right. And that's what we did.
Maxed out. So. And
then we attacked my personal loan that I had got from selling Kiki. And then we started on our student loans. And then lo and behold, I got a job.
Yeah.
And I got a freaking good job. But I had to sacrifice a lot. We both had to sacrifice for me to get that job. Yeah. Since I had been out here, 4 years?
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a job in this town. I went all the way to San Francisco. That's a 2-hour one-way commute. And we didn't have a car. We only had one car. Yep. So he would wake up super early, about 5 o'clock in the morning, drive me to the place where I can catch a boat for another hour. Yep. And he would come back, work all day, then come and get me about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and then we'll drive an hour home. So we weren't eating dinner until 9 p.m. and we're eating dinner in the RV, but we were able to save a lot of money doing that because I went elsewhere to find a job. So that was awesome. And then I think towards the fall, living in the RV, it was time to go.
We were in there for 9 months.
And he was over it.
I was done.
Especially because, I started negotiating my pay. Yes, I did. After like 2 months because that's who I am. And I negotiated that I could work from home, and you can't really work in an RV park. Well, in that one because the internet was slow. And I wanted to work from home. I'm commuting 4+ hours a day. It was time to work from home. Right. And so we decided to sell the RV. Luckily, we were able to do that. Yeah, so we got rid of that $55,000 loan because we financed that. Yep. And we moved into our apartment.
She had her salary. I still had my salary, obviously.
So we continued to live just on his salary.
Right.
So that's it. No lifestyle inflation.
Right.
None. And
we just paid a little bit more because we went to a apartment. But we were
and I was crazy. I negotiated my salary again, about $20,000 more than what they had offered me a few months before then. So we were grinding it out. And so by 2016, what?
No,
I don't know.
Going into 2017.
Yeah. So we moved into the RV January 2016, started killing debt, and then by the end of 2016 we moved into our apartment. Yep. I had a full-time job, and then by the spring of 2017 we had paid off all of our debt but his one student loan.
Yep. Yeah, we paid off all of your student loans. Yep.
Yeah, we
killed all.
Yeah, we killed all the credit cards once we was in the RV, and then we sold Kiki, we sold the RV, and then we got rid of all of my student loan debt. And that's how we did it. I know it sounds very condensed. We did have a long one, but you want the condensed version.
That was that was everything pretty much.
So that's what we did.
Yeah. So now you guys know what our story is. I know a lot of people now look at us and they kind of wonder, like, well, how did you get to this point? Like, I can never get there. But we are really a testament of the fact that, I mean, it takes hard work and some dedication. But, I mean, we started with having only $100 or so.
And that was like living on bare minimums. Like, we cut everything.
Yeah. Like, you just have to really sit down and make a plan and figure out like where you are and then where you're trying to get to and do it.
And just remember that every choice either brings you closer to your goal or takes you away. And I mean every choice.
Every choice.
Every choice. Like, you can't say, oh, well, this is a life event, or, oh, this. No. Every choice either brings you closer or further away from your goal. And so you have to make the choices that align to what you want out of life. Mm-hmm. Our choice was not to end up being 50 or 60 years old and not having anything to show for it. So we decided to remedy that right then and there. Right. And that was our choice. So that's about it. That's it. So I hope this helps clear up anything. We didn't win the lottery, I wish.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, so I didn't go to San Francisco to make like a tech salary or anything. I was like making basic salary for the area. Yeah. But yeah, we're still like working on things. We have the freedom now to do what we want, and that's what we wanted.
Yep.
Like, if something happens, we can get in a plane and go, and not feel like we are strangled by debt.
Right.
Like, we are now in control of our finances and not the other way around. So
that's a word.
That's all we wanted.
Exactly.
So yeah. Well, stay tuned. Maybe I can rant about all the other things that I said. That's another story.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you next time.
I'm hot, so I'll talk to y'all later.